If you don't know, I got these containers from my container house secondhand and for a bargain, but it may be pretty obvious why. It is rust and dent and hole central over here, and I think it's about time that I remove all the rust and repair them so that they can last the test of time. And yes, I am going to start with the easy side first. This side has way less rust and I have removed 2 of the doors already. So I'm gonna start at the back at the bottom here and work my way up. The scaffolding is already here as well, which is a massive plus. I've already removed and treated all the rust on my container roofs from when I was installing my skillion roof and my rooftop deck. And now that all my cutouts are almost complete, it's a great time to get rid of all this rust and treat it. And trust me, I have dealt with a lot of rust on this build, and I find the wire cut brush to be the best for removing rust on containers. When removing rust, you need to get it right back to the bare steel, and specifically these containers are Corten steel. So they're actually meant to have a thin layer of rust over them, which may sound contradictory since I'm removing it all, but let me show you the difference between this bad rust that I'm removing and the protective rust layer that forms once I've got it down to bare steel and applied vinegar. That's the good rust that we're looking for. Once you've removed the rust and treated it and it's all dry, you can spray a protective layer of paint over the top, and it can be applied a couple of times, and then the containers are good as new. Of course, not all areas of the containers though are that easy to remove the rust from. Some are worse than others. Some have big dents and some actually have holes. There's also little areas to get into. So it won't be as easy as using the wire cut brush all the time. I do have a bunch of other ones that I can use as well, but I also need to do some repairs. It is a beautiful day, so let's crank some music and get into it. I've removed all the rust that I can on this container up with the stairs up all the way that I can reach. So I'm gonna have to move the scaffolding over now. I've already removed the rust on these 2 ends as well because I did that when I did the doors. So now I just have to get this one above and then I'm gonna treat and protect it. Now I don't wanna do it this way. I would rather just go around the whole entire containers, remove all the rust at once and then treat it all at once and protect it all at once. But would you believe it? Apparently it's going to be thunderstorming for the next 4 days, even though it looks like this now. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to treat and protect as I go because I don't want to get caught out with rain coming down and have all my hard work just like washed away. So that means it's time to grab the scaffolding, move it over here and get to all the rust that's on this container here. It's actually not that tricky of a job. It just is achy holding the grinder all the time. But it's just also long. You get covered in rust and that's not very nice, but it's not hard. Although I better not speak too fast. The top has a lot more rust than the bottom. Wow, I'm absolutely covered in rust, but it's a job that has to be done. It is not a nice job though. But I have completed removing all the rust off this side, so it's all gone from all the ones down the bottom here, and then on the side up the top there, not on the front face, just on the side. So, because I can't remove the rust all at once, I'm going to go up now and just use a brush and just try make sure like all the steel, all the rust is gone, and then I'll use a blower and blow it away too, and then I can finally treat it. I'm just spraying the areas and treating it to create that thin protective layer, and I'm gonna give it a good amount of time to dry too, so it's definitely all dry before I give it a spray with the protective paint at the end. And then this side will be all done, all rust removed, and I can move on to the front, I think, which I don't think there's that much at the front, like just the big container at the front. There is more on the second story, a lot more on the second story.
sky, floating on a cloud night. Do you feel the winds are turning round? 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. But I'll be safe in your arms.
And then I woke up to rain, and it rained, and rained, and rained. Well, that was a fun 4 days of rain, straight, non-stop, but at least my dam and the rainwater tank loved it. I'm really not a fan of the weather in this location, and let me just quickly explain why. Before I lived here, I lived right at the top of Western Australia in the Kimberley region, where in Western seasons there is only 2 seasons, which is dry and wet seasons. In the Mirrawong calendar, which is the Indigenous calendar for the area that I lived in, there is 3 seasons, which is hot, cold and wet. So the wet season was my favourite, and that's around December to March, and it was just full of rain non-stop, and the temperatures reach like 48 degrees, but the non-stop rain just fills these gorgeous gorges with waterfalls. There is waterfalls coming from everywhere, and because it's so hot there is no tourists because it's very hard to travel in that heat. But in the dry season it is a beautiful 30 to 40 degrees and it doesn't change. It stays a lovely temperature. You never need a jumper year round, so I was hot year round. And even though there's more tourists in dry season, Kimberley area is 425,000. Wait. 425,000. That's how big it is. So there is a lot of space. I think it works out to be 0.9 people per kilometre. So that's pretty insane because yeah, it's a massive space. There's definitely room for everybody that comes to visit. So basically it's hot year round and I absolutely loved that because as a small person, I get cold very easily. Anyway, because it is so beautiful and sunny today, hopefully it stays that way. I will be checking the radar the entire time because rust removal is not something that you can start and then have it be rained on. And see, if you've been with me long enough to remember this, I got it right at the beginning before I even started building the container house. This is my antique wood fire oven that I got for a bargain off Marketplace before I even started this build. It is gorgeous, in very good condition actually. I plan to use it in the kitchen obviously, but also to heat the water in the house. Hopefully, fingers crossed, my plumber said that should be fine. And hopefully it'll act as like a way of heating the house as well. So obviously I'll need to give it a good clean out. I'm gonna cover this back up and then let's transform this house. I think I'm gonna start on the back today. I have a feeling it may be the hardest. So I'm just gonna try and knock it out of the park and get it over and done with so that I'm not too daunted by the rest of it. Although the upper story rooftop deck area might be quite tricky too. That's it for the back bottom part. Now I need to go up to the top. The bottom wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because I actually forgot that I had done a lot of it way back when I first got the containers. So I kind of just had to do a few more spots and go over it a little bit. But it actually went pretty fast. But now I have to get the scaffolding and go all along the back, which is going to be very time consuming. Of course, when I'm removing this much rust, I need sun, not only so that the containers have time to dry, but also so that I can charge my Anker SOLIX F3000, which is the perfect power station to help me complete this part of the build because I'm using my grinder non-stop. and the Anker SOLIX F3000 is the longest lasting power station for essentials. And for me, well, my power tools are my essentials. The Anker SOLIX F3000 has a huge capacity of 3072 WH, expandable up to 12k WH. So not only is it able to power my angle grinder to run non-stop to remove the rust, but I'm also charging my batteries for my battery grinder in case I need them as a backup. And it's also keeping my filming equipment charged all at once. But with a massive 3600 W/230V output and a 38 Anderson DC output, the F3000 can handle it and power multiple devices all at once, like all of my tools and filming equipment. Or if you're in a caravan or on the road, it could be your fridge, lights, small appliances, electronics, and you can even charge the caravan itself. Even if it's for use around your home, with ultra-low idle power consumption, the F3000 will power your fridge for 2 days during a blackout to keep all your food fresh. And even when it's not in use, it will stay on standby for up to 5 days, so you never have to stress about unexpectedly not having power. Depending whether you're on the road, at home, or in the middle of building a house like me, you can recharge the F3000 quickly with 6,000 watt max recharge power, which is fully charging in 1.5 hours when you're using AC EV charger and solar combined. Or for me, with just a solar, it's a 2,400 watt max recharge power. I'm going to use the Anker SOLIX F3000 and power my entire rust removal process and see how far I can get with it before I have to recharge it. And then I want to see how long it takes to fully recharge her so that I'm ready to go for round 2. So let's test her out. It is sitting at 100% now, as we can see, and I'm gonna go find my extension cord, plug it in so that I can reach up onto the containers, and we'll see how long this lasts and how much rust I can remove with it before it dies. Let's go. I have completed the lower back container, and I have to admit there wasn't too much rust on here, but should we check and see what she's up to? Oh my God. So that says 90%, and that's for the entire lower back container. We're really gonna test it with this top one here because there is a lot more rust. So the entire back is completed with the grinder. 60% exactly. I've now completely done the entire back, so the top and the bottom, and I've done this side on the bottom and on the top. And now I'm gonna head up and do the top at the front there. But the Anker SOLIX F3000 is still going strong. It is on 10%. Oh my gosh, I got so close. I got all there to like halfway under that window, rust removed, and the Anker SOLIX F3000 has finally run out and gone to 0%. I'm gonna go down now and plug her into those solar panels over there and time how long it takes to charge her up. There we have it, 4 hours and 7 minutes. Fully recharged, and I think the power of the Anker SOLIX F3000 convenience speaks for itself. And with InfiniPower, it has a 10-year lifespan, so you can rely on it for years to come. If you want to grab the Anker SOLIX F3000 and any other Anker SOLIX power station, there's a link below in my description. I've got all the rust removed, all of it up the top and all down the bottom. So that means I can move on to treatment first, go over all of, sorry, my GoPro died. So now I have to run over with treatment, let it dry, and then do the spray too. I'm also hoping that I can go spray the front as well. And then I should have this entire back, the front down the bottom, and then those 2 entire sides done.
Floating on cloud 9. Do you feel the wind? winds are turning round. 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. But I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine.
It is looking like a sunny day today. I don't want to speak too fast, but fingers crossed I do have another sunny day today before I get into hopefully the last day of rust removal for the container house, which will be a pretty big moment too, and something I haven't been wanting to do for like quite a long time as well. But first, I thought I would tell you my plans for some of the plants that I have here and kind of a setup around the property. So I grabbed these plants here. I've got 2 weeping mulberry trees, 2, I can't remember the name of these palms. What are these palms called? Are they called Alexandra? No, or is that a different one? I'm not sure, but I've got these 2 palms, and then I've got some jasmine, and I'm not sure what the other one is called, star something maybe. So my property is quite big, and it's filled with mainly jarrah and murray trees, which are gorgeous, and they give a lot of treetop cover. So there is a lot of shade around the property, but the cover is also very high up. So when you're going through the property, it's all very open, and I want to create lots of like little areas within the property. Like for example, my secret garden, the dam areas. I want to have like a movie kind of theater area, maybe like a camping chill zone for like campfires and everything. I want to have my outdoor bathroom area. There's like quite a few areas. Like I want to have like a net area. Yeah, there's quite a few areas that I want to have. But at the moment, like I'm starting to create these areas, obviously, and they're so open, and I kind of want to close them all in to make them their own like hidden little areas. And I think that'll be quite easy with like the garden area. Obviously, that's going to kind of do it to itself when everything grows. But in the other areas, for example, down by the dam, I've got to think of something a little bit different. So I'm thinking like barrier type things, but I can't do that directly in the ground everywhere because most of the property is like a high clay content, but also my property is on a slope and everything runs downwards. Some areas are quite wet as well. So I'm thinking of making like, I guess planter boxes, but like massive ones out of cinder blocks and like concreting them and everything, so that I have these huge like planter boxes with lots of space for the plants to grow down there. And I'm thinking having like kind of making it, I'm thinking like 25 to 50 meters long. So I think I'm just gonna use like basically steel mesh and then create like a timber frame around it, and then have that attached to steel posts that are concreted into the ground. And then the planter boxes will be filled with like mainly vines so that they grow up all the steel mesh, because vines are so fast growing as well. But also palms grow very quickly as well. So I'm thinking combination of like palms on the side, vines all in the mesh. Yeah, I think it will be gorgeous. Okay team, I am getting there. It is such a gross job though. This rust is not nice, but it is very satisfying to see it disappear, I do admit that. But I'm completed the entire side here, so all down the bottom and all up the top. So I'm going to move up to that top level at the front there and get rid of all the rust there, and that is it. That will be all the rust gone. I'm up on the deck and I have assessed the area. And would you look at this? There is not that much rust to remove. The worst is probably over here. Here would be the worst. but it's just down the bottom. There's only a little bit up there. This might not take that long. I'm so excited to have rust-free containers. All right, let's do it. Last little stretch. And that's a wrap. All the rust is gone. Can you believe it? It's pretty insane. Because these were actual rust boxes, like proper rust boxes. But as I went along, I realized some of the rust wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Some areas were definitely terrible. But I got through it all, and I'm so excited to hopefully never be covered in rust again. But knowing me, I surely will get something rusty again because it's cheap on Marketplace or something. But let's get this all sprayed up, and then I want to go have a picnic. So you know the drill now. I'm going to treat it first, and then I'm going to protect it. Mommy is so exhausted. All the rust is gone on my house, and I could not be more stoked. It is all treated, it is all protected, and I think that calls for a beer for me. And what, do you want a picnic? Picnic for Django? What about some strawberries? Strawberries or watermelon? Do you want some cheese? You are so cute.